There is no amount of love that you can give to someone else while not also giving that to you. How can I expose so much of the capabilities of love to someone and put all of that indulging love on them, and I can't love myself back? That's an oxymoron. What kind of feeling is that? Can I tell you something? Many times we are so hard on ourselves, beating ourselves up over and over again, maybe for the mistakes that we made or the way we feel like we need to show up in our lives, or just putting a whole bunch of pressure on ourselves that is unnecessary until we get ourselves in a tizzy and we begin to become depressed. We align our minds with things that we read and things that we see, comparing our journeys to others, and also not showing up as our authentic self because somehow we feel our authentic self is not a good enough self compared to what the world is showing us. There's difficulty in just sometimes being ourselves, because being ourselves means that we have to be honest with who we are. And many times, even in your greatness, by the eyes of other people and the love that other people show you, and just by the connection of what they have for you, you don't love and honor yourself completely, because you didn't give yourself grace for the things you experienced in your life, or the things that you felt in your being, or the things that you are still wrestling with in your soul. On a personal note, I brung my own self down by the perfections that I felt like I needed to create as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend. And if it didn't constitute to the level of perfectionism, I crumbled, because I felt in many areas in my life I needed to be so much for people, because I often didn't feel that people were that way with me. So by the deficit, I decided to fulfill. And in many instances in our life, this is where we overindulge in people. And we also find that people won't indulge in us. In the instance of giving myself grace, which took many years to do by the mistakes that I made, or even by the perfect ways in which I needed to see myself, I decided to close my eyes and let myself go. I decided to extend grace to myself the same way that I extended grace to so many people, holding myself accountable for not loving me the way I told people to love themselves when they called me late at night, or we had long extended text messages where there was a conversation between I and a friend, and digging deep into me wanting them to see themselves the way that I see them, but not understanding that I can feel the same way about myself, with self-love and self-appreciation, and guiding my way through a more beautiful me. Often, we hold our esteem very high, where we don't want to crumble. We don't want to sit with ourselves and recognize the parts of ourselves that are damaged. It is that inability to see yourself that you don't learn. But at some point, you're going to have to get to the point where you call out all of the issues and the toxic ways within yourself and accept that this is what it is, and then release it. I wish that I would have shown myself more space to understand that as I was moving through my life and my conflicts and my issues that were unresolved, to give myself the space to sit in it. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to make it go away. I didn't want to honor the bad things that were constantly surfacing in my mind, which meant that I had to always put a band-aid on it so that it could not be seen by others, but more importantly, not be seen by me. Because somehow if I put that band-aid on, I could see it, but maybe I couldn't. Maybe that covering would suffice for a while. And that sufficing that I felt ended up coming out as the band-aid began to peel away. I want you to know that you're human, that no one walking this earth is perfect, that you will make many mistakes, that you will fall on your behind, that you won't always get what you want, that your heart will be broken, that you will break some hearts, that you will be toxic, that you will do some things that are dishonorable. But give yourself grace. And grace is extended when you have learned the lesson and you understand where the correction is needed, and you promise yourself that you won't go through and do the same things again. That is when grace is sufficient for you. Also, I want you to act on love, pure love, real love. Be honest about how you feel about yourselves. I often say, and it is very true, that there is no amount of love that you can give to someone else while not also giving that to you. How can I expose so much of the capabilities of love to someone and put all of that indulging love on them, and I can't love myself back? That's an oxymoron. What kind of feeling is that? Because really and truly, I'm not standing up for myself. I am honoring them more, which means that even in the love that I have for them, they have the ability to break me because I don't love me. I want you to take moments for you. Take moments to indulge in activities, to clear your mind, to clear that space, to walk into places and facets that you never. Read a book, sit alone, walk through, the forest, walk through nature, go by a pond, watch the birds, take in life. The moment you begin to do those things, the moment you realize that life is real, because sometimes we are constantly going and we never stop, not understanding the beauty that is surrounded by us and encapsulates us in our lives. If you failed, keep going. I've never seen a successful person that never failed. If you feel you haven't gotten it right, keep striving. The minute that you fail is the minute that you choose to give up, and the moment that you don't have a second to do it all over again. If you feel you're not where you need to be, work towards it. We always have an option. We always have something to do. We can always work on ourselves. But in the case of all of these things that were described, give yourself grace and give yourself space enough to understand that you are not perfect. If I could tell my younger self something, I would say, you live and you learn. If I could tell my younger self something, it would be that all of your losses were a gain. If I could tell my younger self something, it would be, look at you now. You are beautiful. You are wholesome. You are profound. You are needed. Someone loves you, someone cares. You are surrounded by beauty, and beauty is you. You will make mistakes, but you will also fix them. You love them, but love yourself more. You are not valuable until you value all of yourself. You are you because God made you who you are. Never forget. Never forget.